All right, so we're gonna get started on 2.4. If you guys can follow along. 2.4, calling methods with parameters. Now, it's funny because in this lesson, they start to talk about the differences between arguments and parameters that I've already listed and talked about, and they make a better clarification because in the beginning, it made them sound like they were the same thing, which is, I guess, okay, but I can tell that different people wrote each of these lessons because there is some crosstalk and some different verbiage that's used. So I want to always clarify. I'll make sure to clarify for you guys. So we're going to get started. This should take the class period. I'm going to try and not obviously speed through. I'm going to take my time going through it, but I really want to fit it in the time we have with one another. All right. Starting off, it says, in the last lessons, we used simple methods like forward, turn right, all these different turtle methods. Okay, and if you notice, some of these methods like forward and backward, you could actually type in the number of set pixels. You could change that number, or you could just type in forward and backward, and automatically it would move 100 pixels. That was the default. Okay. Turn right and turn left always moved 90 degrees. And this is a bit limiting because if you are just using these, you can't draw, if you want to draw like the letter A, you can't turn 45 degrees if you're using turn right, because turn right automatically turns you 90 degrees. You instead, like how we tried to make a W and an M, I think, we made these letters that were very, like they didn't even look like the letter. It was just like a box, right? It didn't look good. So we want to be able to customize what we're actually throwing into these methods, okay? Not just always using the standards. One of the cool things we mentioned about different operating systems like Linux or even different programming languages, they allow you some more flexibility and that you can change things according to the way that you want them. If you're stuck inside this box, you can only do what the box allows. But if you're offered a little bit of freedom to do what you want, then you're able to sometimes create more effective solutions. So it says, these require smaller angles to draw diagonal lines if you're trying to draw a letter like A. And if you only have turn right and turn left, then you're going to have some ugly looking drawings. But luckily, we have more complex tools to work with, more complex methods where we can specify by entering arguments. Okay, and those are received as parameters. It says the parentheses, open and close, after method names are there in case you want actual parameters inside of it. Okay, and it says actual parameters are also called arguments. For example, you can give the argument 100 in forward to make it go 100, or you can have the argument 30 inside turn. Notice turn is different from turn right or turn left. It just says turn. So turn 30 will make it turn to the right 30 degrees. Turn negative 30 will make it turn to the left 30 degrees. Okay. So a positive number will move it to the right, a negative number will move it to the left. There's a note in here. It says object dot whatever the method name is, and then the arguments is how you would typically use to give a method some arguments. And this is the line that I've been waiting for. It took 4 lessons for them to actually say this, but it says, although some people use the words parameters and arguments interchangeably, there is a subtle difference. They just used it interchangeably for like a few lessons. Okay. When you create your own method, the variables you define for it are called formal parameters. Okay. So the formal parameters are the definitions when they're defined inside the class. When you're actually passing arguments or passing different information or data into the method, those are called arguments, and it also calls them actual parameters. Okay. And then it will be saved as a parameter variable. So in the definition of forward method, okay, of the forward method, it has a parameter variable called pixels. And In the call where you actually throw 100 inside the forward method, 100 is the argument. The value 100 is being passed in. Okay, it is received as a parameter. You're not writing your own methods until unit 5. So you don't have to worry too much about this, but you have to know these basic concepts. Okay. It says drag the definition, and I already did this and I'll reset it. Okay, it says drag the definition from left to right and connect it with its correct definition. So it says an object's behavior or functions that can be used or called to do its job. Okay, the second one says the values or data passed into an object's method. The third one, the variables in a method's definition that hold the arguments. Okay, and then asking to run the method. I'll start, we'll go backwards here. Asking to run the method is actually calling the method. The variables in a method's definition that hold the arguments. Okay, those are the formal parameters. The values or data passed to an object's method are the arguments, and methods are an object's behaviors. Okay, in some programming languages, they're called functions. Check it. That's right. Okay. It says the following program uses a turtle to draw the picture shown to the left, but the lines are mixed up. The program should do all necessary setup, import, starting the class definition, start the main method, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we'll go ahead and start it off. We'll go ahead and create our class. I'm also going to close it. We're going to take our main method. I'm going to drop it in there. Okay. Before that, we want to import. Okay. So maybe before we do anything, let's go ahead and import java.util. Okay. And also java.awt. Then let's go ahead and create our world, create our turtle. Let's put that inside the main method. And at the very end, we want it to show. Let's see what needs to be done in between. It says it should ask the turtle to turn 45 degrees. Okay, so turn 45 degrees. We'd say turn 45. Go forward 100 pixels. Forward 100. Turn right. Turn right. And then go forward 50. Forward 50. Okay. Next, it should ask the world to show. We already have the world showing in there. Okay. There are some leftover ones that we're not using. Mine reading down goes 4, 5, 7, 6, 12, 8, 13, 11, 1, 2. Let's see if we're right. Got it right. Okay. It says here is the turtle class diagram again that shows some of the variables and methods that you inherit from the simple turtle class. Okay. So we're looking at this. This is just a reminder, right? We're able to set the width, the height, the X and Y positions, the body color. These are all of its attributes, its name, and then methods that can be used. Making the turtle move, picking the pen up, changing the degree, setting the color, the width and height as well. That's just a reminder. It says try some of the methods in the turtle code below. You can see all the methods from this Java documentation. If you want to click on it, right, it'll take you to all the different methods that you can use. Methods are said to be overloaded when there are multiple methods with the same name but a different method signature. We already talked about this. Where it requires different number or type of parameters. For example, we have two different forward methods. There's forward with no parameters, and then forward receiving the 100 parameter. All right. If there's more than one parameter, when the value is given to the method, when it's sent to the method, you need to make sure they correspond in the correct order. You can't just send your arguments in any order. You have to send it based off of what's already defined in the method. Okay, if I want to make it, if I'm looking at a method that has two different parameters expected, and you're just throwing in random numbers where they shouldn't be, then it's going to be a problem and your method's not going to run properly. Okay, the exercise below. It says, can you make Yertle draw a square and change the pen color for each side of the square? All right, so it looks like they started this. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. So we'll make it use different colors, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll just say Yertle dot set color. And some of the colors they give me, it says red, yellow, blue, magenta, right? I'm just going to use the colors that it asks me to. I'm just going to use yellow, right? Make it move forward 100. And then I'll say Yertle dot turn right. And I'm going to go ahead and copy all this. There's going to be 4 sides. 2, 3, and 4. The second color, I'm just going to use blue. I'm just going to use the same order of the different suggested colors. Blue. The third side, I'll use magenta. And we'll choose our last color there. Okay. So it says, can you make him draw a square and change the pen color? That should make us draw a square. And I'll go ahead and just write a comment, right? I'll say draw a square. And then it asks, can you also make it draw a triangle? All right. So let's go ahead and I'll say draw a triangle. Maybe I should also move the pen first. So I'll say Yertle dot pen up. And then after each of these, sorry, I didn't do this beforehand. I forgot semicolons at the end here. I just noticed that, right? Semicolons at the end of each line. Yertle dot pen up, and let's just run it and see what the shape looks like right now and where I have space to even draw this triangle. Let's see. So maybe when I'm done, if I move to the left. Okay, so each my side has a different color. So instead of turning right at the end, I'm going to go ahead and line 23 for me. I'm just going to take turn right out. I'm going to say pen up. And let's move forward. I don't know, maybe we can move forward 100. Yertle dot forward 100. All right. And it would have naturally done it if I didn't pass the argument 100. It would automatically default went to 100 pixels. But to say move it over here. Okay. And let's draw this triangle, right? We want it to go up. We want to turn a certain degrees and go up, turn that way and go over, and turn that way and go over. Okay. If I want to draw an equilateral triangle, what degree do I have to turn? Why, and why is that?
180 minus the measured internal angle at 16.
Correct. Okay, so I need to make sure that I'm turning the correct degree. Okay, so if I move through here, and I guess I'll show you where I'm at right now. Save and run. Okay, so I have my turtle. This is my square. And then I pick the pen up and I move over 100. Okay, recognize he's already facing to the left. Okay, so we want to draw this triangle properly. Let's go ahead here and start off. I'll say, well, I'll say Yertle dot, and I'll just say turn. I'll have him turn right to start off. So he starts off facing up. Okay, so he'll get here and he'll start off facing in the normal position as if he was already facing up. Normally default, he starts facing, whenever you enter a turtle, the turtle starts facing up. Okay, so if he's starting facing there, okay, he's starting turning right there. Do I want to do that though? Because then I have to change the degree for each. We'll just make this simple, right? Make them turn 120 degrees, okay? And I'll just go ahead and say Yertle dot forward. We'll make them move forward 50. We'll make it a smaller triangle. Okay. And then we'll have them turn 120 degrees. Okay. And once I've done this, I guess that is more than just the pen up, move forward 100. And I'll say, draw a triangle. I'll take this comment out down here. All right. Pen up forward. Yes. Yertle dot pen down. Cool. Let's go ahead and check this out. So the turtle draws a square. Its sides are 100 pixels, then picks up, moves across, turns, and draws my triangle. Okay. Recognize that 120 times 3 gives you 360. Okay, now we're exactly back to where we started. I was able to spin my turtle all the way around. 3 sides, right? Now, if we were to do that with 4 sides, the reason why we turn 90 degrees is because 90 times 4 is 360. Okay, we've gone completely around the square, completely around the triangle. They want me to do anything else with the triangle. Use the turn, has a parameter of 90 degrees. It says right here, need external angles of 120 for an equilateral triangle. Okay, that just recapped everything I just said. There we go. I've passed everything. We'll continue on. Try the following mixed up code to draw a simple house made of a square and a triangle roof. All right, so we'll go ahead and start our class, right? I'm guessing it's already imported everything it needs. Take our main method, open it. We're going to close our main method and we're going to close our class, just in a good habit of opening and closing at the same time. From there, we're going to go ahead and create our world. We're going to create our turtle object. Okay. And at the very end, we will show our world. But in the meantime, let's say we want to set the color red. It says drag the blocks, first draw a square for the house and then a red triangle. All right, so draw a square. I'm going to drag that right there. Okay, we draw our square, then we set the color to red and we draw a red triangle. All right, so the numbers that I've laid out, 7, 9, 5, 3, 10, 4, 2, 1, 6, 8. Okay, we're able to have all this in here, draw our square, change the color, draw the triangle. Let's check it. It works. Okay. 241, tracing methods. It says you will not write your own methods until Unit 5. It already said that, but you should be able to trace and understand what goes on throughout the method. And here it just shows you old MacDonald had a farm, and it created a few methods. One of the methods is chorus, and another method, I guess, just has a chorus method. Oh, the verse is another one. Okay. So what's inside the verse method? It says old MacDonald had a farm, and then it runs the chorus. It called that the chorus, E-I-E-I-O. Okay, and then it prints it out. And then it says in line 10 with a noise, 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 and it changes. So that's the structure of the song. In AP Computer Science Principles, we talk about compression. And one of the reasons why a computer likes being able to, or is able to compress data based off of repetition. If it notices patterns in different files, it's able to compress it easier and use less storage. In this case, we're using the same variable throughout. And in order to save time, it just calls whatever variable has been passed into it. Okay, our chorus just prints out E-I-E-I-O each time. Create a method called chorus. And now our main method, check it out. We're tracing our main method. Our main method is what runs. We create our song object, and then we called that object S, and we started the first verse. We passed it in an argument called cow and an argument called moo, okay? As it receives that in the verse, right now I'm just tracing through this, okay? The animal is cow. So every time I refer to animal, it's going to say cow. And whenever it refers to noise, I'm going to say moo. So animal, cow, noise, moo, 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 moo. All right. The second verse, it's going to go back and repeat it, only it's going to add duck and quack in there as the animal and noise. Okay. So that's a cool thing about creating different parameters that you can pass into it. Each time that you create, or each time that you run this method, it expects these parameters to be passed in. Okay, the arguments are received, then the parameters are what's actually received in the actual method. Okay, these are the parameters. These are the arguments. Okay, and if I were to run this, this is what's actually done. Okay, the first time through, that's the first verse. And then below is the second verse. Notice that the first time through it went cow, and then the sound, and then duck, and then the sound. What does it want me to do? It says use the method verse has two parameters. Okay, add another verse in the main that calls the method verse with a different animal noise. All right, so maybe I say s dot verse and farm animal, I'll say pig, oink. All right, so if I run it, notice that's all I need to do. I don't need to create a new method. I don't need to go through and add a bunch of more code. I've created a method that does its job and is able to change as I enter different arguments. Okay. All right. Ask the question, was the following code produced? I went through and did this. I was just, like I said, trying to start a video, but didn't end up finishing in time. So it says public class method trace. All right, I have my square method, and what it does is squares a number. I have my divide method that divides two numbers. Down here, my main method, I create an object called trace object. And then I have a number and I square it. So 5 squared is 25. So I know the first number must be 25. I then print and then I pass 4 divided by 2, and it should return 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So A is the correct answer. Okay. It says programming challenge turtle house. It wants you to draw something similar to this, right? I want you to draw something that looks like that. It says to draw a window, you'll need to do pen up to walk the turtle in the right position. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this house. Okay, it looks like I'm using black, blue, red, and magenta. So first, we're gonna have to go ahead. We have our world, okay? We'll just stick with, it's been using Yurtle. We'll just create a turtle called Yurtle. So we'll call turtle Yurtle equals new turtle, and we're going to pass it into world. Okay. Once we've created our turtle, we want to first draw the box, right? So we'll say we want to draw, what color is it? Black. Draw black square. And then after we draw the black square, maybe we draw the red roof. And then after we draw our red roof, we draw our blue windows. And then after our blue windows, we'll draw our magenta door. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with our black square. All right. So it's going to start facing up automatically. So I'll say Yurtle dot forward. Do I want to move 100? Yeah, I'll make it move 100. Okay. And then maybe I'll make it smaller. I'll say forward 75. Okay. And then we want it to turn right. So Yurtle dot turn right. And then I'm just going to copy this. And we'll paste it 2, 3, 4 times. So this should draw our square. Let's take a look. Now we didn't set the color to start with to black. Okay. So if you remember, right, the way that we were able to set color and change color when we originally wrote this, we were able to use the set color method. Okay. So by going back here, let's go ahead and use our set color method. So we'll say Yurtle dot set color, and we'll say color dot black. Okay. So now if we run it, we should have our first step as our black square. Okay. Now if we want to draw our roof, okay, we want to move it to where we need to be. So we can say Yurtle dot pen up, and we can say Yurtle dot forward 75. That will take Yurtle to the top of the roof up here. Okay. Now drawing our red roof. Okay, remember, let's just say we'll draw an equilateral triangle just to keep it easy. Okay, we know that if we make it move 75, and if we want it to be the same length as the roof, as the base of the roof, right? We want to make this move 75 as well. So, well, that was when he was facing one way. So I guess I'll say instead of 120 originally, now he has to move 30 degrees. So we'll say Yertle dot turn 30 degrees. We'll change the color to red before we start. Yertle dot change color. That's what it was, right? Set color. Keep on messing it up. Set color. And we're changing it to color dot red. Okay, he's already facing up. Before he was facing the left. So we're taking 90 degrees away from 120, which gives us 30. Okay. And then we'll say Yertle dot forward. And we'll say 75. Okay. Then once he's there, we'll say Yertle dot turn 120 and make him move forward 75. And then we'll make him turn 120 again and make him move forward 75. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look. Let's run it. Never put pen down. Move forward, and I'll say Yertle dot pen down. Silly mistake. All right, so he draws his black square. Once we draw the black square, make him move up, turn red. Okay, there's my triangle on top. That's not obviously the same triangle, but that's fine with me. All right, now that we have our really pointy red roof, it wants me to eventually also use the move to, where rather than going and rather than going through, this would be 0, 0. Okay, this would be 150, 0. This would be 150, 150. Okay, if I moved 75 closer, okay, that would be 150, 75. So this point right here is 150, 75. So if I were to move 150, 75, let's maybe move 160, 100. Let's see what happens if I set 160, 100. Okay, so Yertle dot, and it wants me to use the move to. I'll say 160, 100. And before I move, I want to pick the pen up. Yertle dot pen up. Once I move to that certain point, I'm going to go ahead and change the color, set color to blue. Okay, color's been set to blue. And then let's see, if I set the color to blue, then maybe we do Yertle dot forward. Let's move forward 20. And then Yertle dot turn right. I'll go ahead and do that, and it will draw my window. Okay, so that's one side, two sides, three sides, and four sides. All right, so that's one window. Let's see what it looks like. Save and run. Draws my box, picks the pen up, moves the top of the box, draws my red triangle, picks the pen up, moves to a new location. Oh, look at that. So what I want to do is I want to put my pen down, keep on having the pen up, and then I'll never actually put it down. I set the color, right? And I'll go Yurtle dot pen down. Okay. So if I have 160, my start point originally was 160, 100. Okay. The middle was 150. So 160 and then down 100. I probably want to face the right way too. Okay. Because at the very end, I had him starting off facing left. So maybe when I start off, I can move to and then have him, before I actually even start moving forward, I'll say Yurtle dot turn right. Okay. So that way he'll be facing up already. And we can put the window in the right spot. Let me go ahead and run it.
So could we just create like method that's window instead of just right for good stuff?
Good. Yeah. There you go. Okay, so excellent question. Can we create a method called window? Right? So let's say we want to actually create a method called window. If you want to do that, we can. That's our main method. But maybe we create a method. And if we look up here, right, where we originally started when we were creating methods, just to recap so we're all on the same page. Where are we at? That's when I was just talking about it. Okay. If I'm creating a method with no return value, I can just say public void, right? This is what I was looking for. Public void, and then have it do something. Okay. And then pass it in a number. So we can say public void window, and then have it pass an int. Okay. So let's do that. Right. Since we're talking about methods, let's go ahead and create it. So I can say public void, and I'll call this window. And I'm going to open it and close it. And the parameter that I'm going, or the parameter that I'm going to enter is, let's say, I'll just say side, and it will be received as an int. Okay. So let's go ahead and take our code.
We also need to pass in the turtle or make the turtle a member of the class.
Say it one more time.
We either need to pass in the turtle to the method or make the turtle an attribute of the class and with APCSA like draw window.
Oh, yeah.
In my opinion, we better make a member of the class so we can.
Say it again.
In my opinion, I would make a member of the class. I'm not sure because like this is like the main class.
Yeah.
Just pass in turtle.
I see what you mean. So maybe we just hold off on it for right now, just to so I'm not confusing other people in the process of it. Okay, good point though, right? we could create a window method and move through it and draw that window. That'd be really nice. But you'd also have to pass that turtle in, or pass that into there where the turtle's moving.
So would you do that by saying?
No, you would still use the same world. It would just be a little bit more complex. And I don't want to confuse people along the way. But that's a good thought, because eventually, the way you're thinking is, what's the easiest way I can do this? And eventually we'll use loops. We'll continue to use classes and use methods in order to simplify that. But since we're using Turtle right now, we won't be using Turtle frequently throughout this entire class. But just as we're talking about methods that are already established and creating classes that are already established, we've been using Turtle. And it's popular for many beginner programmers to use a pre-established class like Turtle. Okay. So good observation, Ryan, as well. I'd have gone until we hit an error. Blue windows. So once we have this location right here, right, maybe we have him maybe we have him turn right again. Okay, that way he'll be facing the direction that he's supposed to go. Okay. And now we've made him turn 180. So I could also just say turn 180. Save a line of code, right? He'll finish drawing and he'll turn 180. He'll move the other way. Then we made him move 20. So maybe we make him move 40. So I'll say Yertle dot forward 40. Okay, now he's in a starting location. Okay. Yertle will now draw, he'll move forward 20 and then turn left. Okay, we'll repeat that 3 more times. 2, 3, and 4. Once he turned 180. We also have to say Yertle dot pen up. And we also, after he's moved forward 40, we want to put the pen back down. So I'll say Yertle dot pen down. Okay, so this drew window 1. This moved it. This drew window 2. Let's run it just to make sure. All right, so we're black square, picks the pen up, moves forward, draws my really tall roof. Okay, picks the pen up, turns to blue, draws my blue window, then turn 180 degrees, goes the other way, moves, and draws my other window. It's not perfect, but oh well. Okay, last thing I need is the door. Okay, and if I go to the very last thing we did was we made it turn left again. If I didn't make him turn left, then he would already be facing down. Okay, so I'll take that last turn left away. Okay, so now he's here. We want to say Yertle dot pen up, and we want to move where we need to go. So originally, just to recap, we moved forward 150, 150. The center is 150, 150. Okay. The side of the house was, what did we set? 75. Okay. So here's a question for you guys. If this was 150, 150, okay, and this we're adding 75 onto, okay, so what is 150 plus 75? 225. 225 would get you right here. And we wanted to find a place that we can put this door to put it exactly in the middle. How should we go about doing that? I know our windows aren't exactly in the middle, but let's say we wanted to get this perfect. How would we go to the correct location? It involves some math, right? It's a good question. We can make it, well, the picture looks like that. It's not an equilateral, kind of like a rectangle, right? So once again, this is 150. If we're just zooming on the house, right? This is 150, 150. Let's say this is plus 75. So this is 225 over here, right? So this is 225, 150, which means the distance, this is 75, okay? So the door, the exact center of the door would be the middle of 150 to 225, okay? So 150, and because I'm doing really, even though I'm a math teacher, I'm really bad doing math in my head, 150, we'll do 150, 225 divided by 2, which gives me 187.5 would be right in the middle there, okay? So that middle point would be 187.5 and then down 150. Okay. Now, if I wanted to draw a rectangle that surrounds it, then I would have to move equally in that direction and equally in that direction. So if I move to the right, let's just say 20, right? So if I move to the right 20, and let me write this down so I don't forget it. 185, 187.5. If I move to the right 20, that would be 207.5. And if I move up, let's say up 60, then I'd have to move to the right 40, down 60. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do it, and then I'll explain what I did. So I'm picking the pen up, and it's already facing downward, but I'm just going to say Yertle dot go to, and the location I'm going to go to and start, it's going to be 1. Oh, you can only pass integers. You can't pass decimals. I'll just say 187, 150, right? It should be 187.5, but let me, what I do, Yertle dot int, oh. Variable Yertle, let's type 0. Cannot find symbol. Move to, not go to. I did the first time as well. Move to. I wrote the method name wrong. So we'll move through. Let's see where we're at here. I could speed all this up. Okay, we draw our windows. first window, and then our second window. And then it moves to where it should be in the middle. Okay. So once we're here, let's just go ahead and say Yertle dot, keep on wanting to say change color, it's set color. Okay, we're going to set color to the color, I'm going to say magenta. Okay, and then once we've set the color, we'll say Yertle dot turn right. Okay, and then we'll say Yertle dot forward, and I'll just make them move forward 10. And then once we've made them move forward 10, we'll make them move up 30. So Yertle dot turn right. And then we'll say Yertle dot forward 30. Okay. Then we'll say Yertle dot forward 20 after we've turned right. Yertle dot turn right. Forward 20, that should be the top of the door. And then we want to turn right again. Yertle dot turn right. And then we'll say forward 30, turn right, and then we'll say forward 20. All right, let's just see what we got here. I know it's not perfect, but let's see what we got. All right. Draw my windows. I know the windows are off, but I was just drawing it to draw it. Let's make our door. Never put pen down. That's why we run it. Pen up, move to. I'll say Yertle dot pen down. All right, one last time, just for the fun of it. And if you wanted to make everything pretty and perfect, you can. I know some of you don't like doing things halfway, and neither do I, but for the sake of getting through all this as well, I want to make sure that we get all this done. I mean, we've already completed all the requirements as asked of us. It's just saying draw this house. Might not be the prettiest house in the world. You probably won't get contracted to draw many more houses after you make someone's house look like this. But yeah. That's pretty close to middle. I mean, you're not going to get much closer than that. The windows are not centered though. All right. So with that, we have our house. We drew our house. Does not look as good as the one they drew, but oh well. Passed everything. Okay. We talked about methods, talked about objects. No need to repeat that again. It says consider the following methods. This starts off inches to centimeters. We're converting inches to centimeters. We pass it. How many inches were entered? It multiplies inches by 2.54 to give you centimeters. and then it prints it out. So right here, where we're actually printing it out, it says system.out.print, and then it prints whatever inches are being passed in. Notice that inches is passed in the print in centimeters, and then whatever it is in centimeters is passed out, and then it prints it all out. Okay, it says assume the method call inches to centimeters is 10. Takes 10, multiplies it by 2.54, okay, which gives you 25.4. Just moving the decimal over 1, right? And then printing it out 10 inches. Notice that it's a double because it received it as a double. Even though it was originally just 10 and 10 was passed in, it receives it as a double and changes it to 10.0. Okay, so the reason why letter B isn't right is because we're dealing with doubles. Okay, the answer is E. Okay, also already answered this one. And it says, in slices per person, we've taken a pizza, we're splitting it up evenly among the number of people. So it says whatever the int is, there's gonna be 8 slices of pizza. Okay, and we're gonna divide it by the number of people. So if we were to pass it in, well, if we look down here, each person gets, and then it gives you how many slices there are. Okay, so we're passing that into to print slices. It says which of the following lines would go into insert code here, knowing that we have to go from this from the split pizza method into printing it out. We want to make sure to pass into print slices. We want to pass in the slices per person integer, okay, that we create. So slices per person needs to be entered into the print slices method. We need to run the print slices method right here, and then that gets passed into here. All right, and it's correct. Says you've attempted 10 out of 10 activities on this page. If you'd like to go back and take a ton of time, make this look perfect, that's great. But I feel like there's also more important concepts that we need to get to. Starting off, next class, we'll move into the next lesson. But this was 2.4, calling methods with parameters. If you want to take a look at some of the code that I wrote down here too, maybe I'll be slow and I'll walk through the code that I wrote for my house, right? We drew our black square. There's our main method. That's what we wrote for our black square. We picked the pen up, moved it to where it needed to go. We drew our red roof. And we drew our blue windows. Picked the pen up, drew our second window. Picked the pen up and went to draw our magenta door. Show the world at the end. All right. And that's it, 2.4.